Well, the other day my wife, she went out and got the game cam SD cards out of the game cameras, and then she never ended up putting them back. So I'm gonna walk out to the back of the property today, put in the game cameras, and maybe show you some spots I haven't shown before. Some geese going over today. I just can't seem to get very many geese to come to our pond. Usually it's only maybe 2 to 4 geese at a time, maybe, but not very many geese seem to want to stop on our pond. Well, I'm gonna let the chickens out so that they can roam around today. There you guys go. Come on out. One thing I will say is the water in the wintertime is a pain in the butt. We've had 2 of them water bowls there. One left over from last year went bad. We bought another one, it went bad. And moved the bucket that we use for the dog in here. And we've had that one for like probably 6 years, and it's been working fine. But those bowls, not very good luck with those. So I got a bunch of wood chips here that it's been a little while since I chipped them up, but I need to spread them on the orchard. Planning on doing that soon. This compost pile, the chickens, I keep building it up and they keep knocking it down, but in that cage right there I've got a deer head in there, and I've had that in there for a year. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I was hoping to see whether the like bugs and worms and stuff in the compost would eat all the flesh off of that deer skull, and I'd have a European mount deer skull. So later this spring I'll take that out and see how that's done. I've got a few scrap piles around here that I really need to get cleaned up. Hopefully we'll be able to get that done this spring. It's amazing how much metal we've hauled off on this property. If you look here in the bank barn, we've got quite a bit of wood stacked up. This is left over from the log home build. So I see a lot of projects here in the future. So maybe the wood shed will be built out of this. Maybe some kind of animal shelters, but got quite a bit of wood left over. I still got quite a bit of wood out there in the basement, and then I've even got a stack of wood still, a couple stacks of wood out there in the pasture next to the house that we need to bring up here. We got quite a bit of wood left over, but that's all free wood for another project. Come down to the shooting range. The shooting range, everything's fine out here. It's got a little bit of use here lately. I've had a guy from work come down. He's used it to sight in a rifle. He's brought his kids down here, and it's a good place to be able to teach your kids gun safety and not be around other people. Have it all to yourself, a little bit of privacy. So that's worked out well for other people to use down here. I think I just heard some deer kick up over there. The property line's over here, so over on the other neighbor's property, I think I just heard some deer jump up and run away. This is the old well house, and this door laying here on the ground, it won't seem to stay on. I'm gonna have to cut me a piece of plywood and cover this up. Maybe one day we're gonna redo this well house, try to use it for either irrigation or to water animals. Well, here's the first camera. I got a couple of these Browning cameras. I can't remember which ones they are. Yeah, they're Browning Strike Forces. They seem to do pretty decent. I've had I've had a few different cameras. I've had Wild Game Innovations that's gone bad. I've had I think it's Spy Point that's gone bad. So not real impressed with their cameras. So this is one of the back 3-acre fields, and these trees back here, they're on the neighbor's property. There's a fence line that runs right there, and they've been cutting those trees down. So let's go check it out. So we're looking across over at the neighbor's property, and they're doing a lot of selective cutting over here, logging this little patch of woods. And this patch of woods was really where the deer like to kind of travel through, and they also bedded down over here. But it's really changed the way the deer have traveled this year with all this activity back here. And they haven't just been logging this set of woods, they've been logging a lot of stuff around the area. So down this fence line, they've actually logged further down this fence line, and I'll show that here a little bit later. As you can see, we got our hunting blind over here, and I believe this year they're going to have this field planted in corn this year. It was in soybeans last year. Well, now I'm standing in this little area between our two fields here in the back. We got 2 3-acre fields in the back, and kind of standing in the area between them. And there's this little patch of woods, kind of breaks them up. And the reason these trees are here is there's actually another little pool of water back here. So there's this kind of a stagnant pool. It's kind of a frog pond back here, and it's a good watering hole for wildlife back in this area. And this area right in here is full of the honey locust trees with the big thorns. So last fall I actually came through here and cut a bunch of them down and kind of cleared out at least this edge here. And so I'm going to continue on to try to get rid of those trees, or at least kill them off. And this is where I plan on planting a lot of the chestnut trees this year, is I'm going to plant them back in this area closer to this stagnant pool. So hopefully attract the deer to this area with a little bit of chestnuts plus the water. So here is one of the locust trees that I actually did not cut down. I just tried to kill it. I cut around it with a chainsaw, and then I filled in that cut line with a bunch of tree killer to try to try to kill the tree. And if you just look at this tree and these huge long thorns that are on this tree, I mean, it's crazy. It's not a very friendly tree to have on your property. It's just covered in thorns. So I'm in the process of slowly getting rid of these trees. Yep. This here's the first game camera I've ever bought. This is a Bushnell, and this thing's still trucking along. So definitely happy with the Bushnell brand game cameras. I've actually got probably more pictures of bobcats on this camera than I have the others. So we got some four-wheeler trails back here. We're just going to kind of walk down these four-wheeler trails. So over here, this is a big oak tree that ended up falling down a year ago. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but this is probably going to be the first tree that I try to cut down for firewood this year. So it's been laying there for a year, pretty much off the ground. So this is going to be the first one I do to try to get firewood. Got a couple more in here that I need to get to. So as we get back in here further, you can see this narrow part of our pond as it comes back here. and this is kind of hard to access to fish. That's why we're planning on trying to build a bridge over here and then clean out this side over here so that we can try to fish this narrow part from the other side, and it'll be an easy walk from the cabin. But this is some good fishing back in here. It's just hard to get to. So back here we got some trees that are down too. It actually was kind of a domino effect. The first tree that fell down was back there, and there you can see a car hood. There's actually a car hood that kind of sticks up over here. That's on the neighbor's property, and it fell over the fence line and took down like 2 more trees as it fell. And it's been laying there for half a year, so I kind of gave him an opportunity if he wanted that firewood, but he hadn't cut it down, so I figure this summer I'll end up cutting that tree up as well. Well, this post here is the southwestern point on my property. So this is the farthest point of my property. As you can see, it goes, this is our 3-acre field on this side, and go down this fence row, and then our other 3-acre field is over there. Now, one thing that they've been doing on clearing trees is there used to be a fence row that went from here, this corner, all the way down to those woods way down there. So one thing you'll see is they've slowly taken them out, and all the way at the other end, I don't know if you'll be able to tell it, but where you see that little patch of snow back there, there's actually a big huge pile of wood. So they've cleared out this whole fence line and took all them trees and pushed them to the other end. Now the deer used to actually travel, you know, from the woods way down there and then down this fence line and then down that fence line. So them taking these fence lines out really changed how the deer travel and how their daily routine goes. So hoping that the hunting is still good next year, but I mean, it really matters what your neighbors do and how it affects the wildlife on your property as well. Well, that was our walk around the back of the property. Now I need to get a fire started in the house over there so I can get to work, and kind of planning on hanging some trim up high in the windows of the dormers today. That way I can get that scaffold out of there. I think I'm done with my sanding, so I just want to get some trim put on. I think I also need to put some roof vents through. This is probably going to be the warmest day I'm going to have in a while, so I may try to get some roof vents through so I can have hot water heater running. So wish me luck. Thanks for watching.